do. Oh, we'll do. So, yeah.
Good morning and welcome to the Oklahoma City Airport Trust, December 18th, 2025. Our first order of business today is to approve the minutes of the Oklahoma City Airport Trust for November 20th, 2025. Is there a motion and second?
Oh, I approve. Sorry. You can do it on the computer?
Trustee Hinkle, how do you wish to vote?
Yes.
And the item passes. All right, next up, we have the director's report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. As we have over the last couple of months, we've had some department updates from the airport, and Tiffany Lawson is here this morning, and she's going to tell us about business and property. So Tiffany, go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, trustees, director. My name is Tiffany Lawson. I'm the administrative manager of the real estate division for the Department of Airports. I want to thank each of you for allowing us this opportunity to share our story with you this morning. When most people hear real estate, they think about property, buildings, homes, things they've experienced through either renting or leasing. But in an airport, that means so much more. It involves managing and developing vast areas of land and facilities for both aeronautical uses, such as hangars and terminals, and non-aeronautical uses, such as retail space, offices, logistics centers. The slide you're currently looking at shows a little snippet of each of our 3 airports. And the bottom is our general aviation CE Page, which is about 1,270 acres. Wiley Post, another general aviation, is 1,568 acres, while OKC Royal Rogers International is at 8,081 acres. It's huge. Last year, Panathos, which is a small company, did a survey, and they actually compiled a list of the largest landmass commercial airports over 2,500 acres in the United States. And OKC actually showed up as number 9. That's huge. That's a lot of assets to manage and develop. And these developments actually help generate revenue beyond flight, which is transforming the airport into more of a thriving economic engine where it helps, support jobs, foster community growth, and create sustainability. So for the real estate division, what does that exactly mean for us? What is our mission? How do we accomplish this? Well, we want to deliver long-term value through strategically managing these real estate assets in order to drive economic growth and sustainability. Well, that sounds good. Where are we headed? What do we want to do with that? Well, we want to define excellence in that through smart growth, strong collaborative partnerships with both tenants and vendors, contractors, but we also want to ensure that sustainable airport. So that all sounds good, but how do we do that? What is our purpose? How do we add value? The first way is through revenue generation. We do that mainly by maximizing income through agreements. We get to work with a lot of different coworkers, and we rely heavily on legal for many of these things. One way we do this is through efficient leasing. That's through writing really good terms, having strong, informed information for negotiations, because several of our agreements last for decades, which means we have to be forward-thinking and write in that flexibility for changes that come in regulations and rates, things that are going to affect us 20 years from now, things we don't see coming, like COVID. We also have to do reducing risk and liability, which means we spend a lot of time with insurance. A lot of time. Research, that's one of the main things that we do spend our time on. We have a lot of industries across these 3 airports, so we want to know as much about the people who are on our airports and how they impact us so that we can write the best agreements to be a good steward. We do that with market rate studies, rent studies. We talk to our coworkers, subject matter experts. We rely heavily We have just worn development services and public works out this year, just, relying on them for their expertise. We also want to monetize underutilized assets. We do that kind of through different ways. We look around and say, how can we make money off of this? So we have some slabs that the rental cars left whenever their buildings were raised to the ground. We permit those out for short-term overflow parking. We have one that we don't actually generate revenue from, but we have a cost savings for. We use it for all CDL training throughout the city, both our employees, city employees. So we are maximizing those assets that we have. We also recently leased out one of our buildings short-term to a federal entity, FEMA, for a while, just to utilize that asset. But the one thing that we do mostly is we want to build and strengthen those relationships with tenants, contractors, vendors. Another way we do this is through economic development. It's not enough for us to sit on the agreements that we have, but it's really important that we attract both aeronautical and non-aeronautical businesses. My direct boss, Scott Keith, the assistant director, and Director Mulder spent a tremendous amount of time trying to solicit aeronautical and non-aeronautical businesses for our airports. Sustainability is key. Asset optimization, that's another thing that we are constantly working on to ensure the best use of our property. We have a cradle-to-grave approach. We want to be thinking not just for today, but what happens when that asset is no longer viable. So we do that through strategic planning for development. We do a lot of inspections, a lot of maintenance, which nobody ever wants to talk about, and sometimes we have to dispose those assets. All that for operational excellence. We want to provide modern, safe, and efficient facilities. And that's saying a lot because some of our hangars date back to the 1940s. So that is a lot of work on our part. But if you've flown in and out of Oklahoma City, Will Rogers, in the last couple of years, you have witnessed that operational excellence because of a lot of director-led enhancements that we've been doing. Any of our airports, you can go out and look and see how much we are putting into that, trying to attract those businesses for sustainability. And then you can't talk about assets without thinking about stewardship. We have a responsibility to protect these public assets, and that includes environmental assets as well. But again, our main focus at the end of the day, we do all that with a tenant and customer focus. And keep in mind, our customers aren't just external facing. Many of them are our coworkers, and again, like talking about downtown, working with them, working across the city to make sure that we are all on the same page and we're all working for the same idea. What is our main focus? Agreements. As we were talking about this, we manage approximately 350 agreements, permits, memorandums of understanding in our division on any given day. We have, as I stated, a plethora of industries that we have to accommodate. Just to give you a few, we have 6 different federal industries on our properties. That's just federal. The obvious is airlines. We have over 20 different third-party vendors that just support those airlines doing different industry-type work. We have fixed-base operators, specialized aviation services, which is a whole slew of new industries such as flight training and helicopters, and that list is endless. We have agriculture, telecommunications, concessions, we have T-hangars, we have oil and gas, we have de-icing, and we have services. We also broke these down, we broke down our 350 agreements into about 4 main types. Number 1 being tenant, land use, concessions, and services. Now, services, while not revenue generating, actually, they're minimal for us, but they're very important. We have to invest in our operational excellence. One of the ways you see it on a daily basis is just the custodial services at Will Rogers. It is a beautiful airport, and we want to keep it clean. So this slide basically just shows you a quick rundown of the differences. We've divided them between aeronautical and non-aeronautical use, with the largest, of course, being tenant. We have about 51% of our agreements at OKC are tenant use, 27 being the land use. For Wally Post, those numbers are very similar. We have about 46% aeronautical tenants at Wally Post and about 34% for land use at Wally Post. CE Page is pretty black and white. You're either a tenant or you have land use out there. But what does all this mean for us on a daily basis? What do we do? Well, if something's occurring on airport property or adjacent to, it's in our workspace. So most of the time, we actually have to get away from our keyboards and get out in the field. We have to talk to people. We have to interact. So we wanted to show you just a few things of what that looked like this past year. As we talked about getting rid of things and doing best use, if you are hoarding or storing anything, you are actually giving up your property and your real estate to that item. So we decided that was not the best use of our property this year, and hopefully we don't have to do this again. But there was about 800 items that we managed to dispose of. Another thing that we do is closeouts. So we had a tenant that moved out of a property at Wally Post this year, and we go in and do an inspection, and this is a beautiful property. We did an inspection, we gave them a few updates that they needed to get accomplished, and then we went back and took pictures, and they did a great job. This is an aeronautical use building, and it's currently available. If you know anybody who would like to lease it, we would be glad to talk to them. Another thing is preparing for a new service provider. As stated, we do a lot of research. We want to write really good permits and agreements. This particular setup was to allow a telecommunications provider to pull fiber and get to the building. In order to do that, we reached out to one of our coworkers, subject matter expert. You met her a couple of months ago when IT did theirs, was Charlotte Russell. She spent her day coming out, walking us through what it was going to look like to pull that fiber. She took the lids off the holes. She put her hands down on them and was trying to explain to us everything that was down in there. She was a rock star that day for us, to help us write a really good permit, and is helping us write a good agreement. As stated, we do a lot of property inspections. This is just 4 that we've done this year. We actually did 132 at just PWA alone at Wally Post this year, too. The first one is just a nice picture of the 99s. The next one is a picture of a hangar, and while it looks a little rough around the edges, we were able to, when that tenant moved out, lease it to the current FBO, excuse me, at CE Page. The next one is a beautiful showing of a nice hangar out at Wally Post. And the last one is just a small shot, even though you can't see it very well, of the cargo building out at OKC. We also have concession service agreements. We have 7 food and beverage concessions and 6 retail at Will Rogers, and they are beautiful. They are a good representation. When I did this RFP a few years ago, the whole focus was to have local businesses. Many people that, as we're trying to attract businesses into the airport, when I fly, sometimes I don't have the opportunity to go out and explore cities. So we want to make sure that, when people came into OKC, if this is all they see of OKC, we wanted them to get that local flair. And so that is reflected in all of each of these retail and food and beverage. So one other thing that we are in charge of is Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, or ACDBE. Our property specialist, Carolyn Wyndham, actually manages this program. Until recently, many industries have to deal with DBEs, mainly through construction, including the airports. But only airports have also that extra ACDBE aspect, which just wants to serve small local businesses in the airports alone. Now, we have 3 currently ACDBEs at the airport. Plenty is one of them. Now, Harold is our shoe shine guy, and while he's technically qualified to be an ACDBE, he didn't want to fill out the paperwork, but I couldn't let this opportunity go by without showing a staple of our airport. He is a wonderful man, if you know, and he gives a great shoe shine. So I've basically given you a really quick overview of a lot of what we do, but what are some of the challenges we navigate on the daily just to get to these areas? Number one is records management. We have thousands and thousands of documents, as you can well imagine, with leases and agreements spanning decades that go back to when the trust was incorporated in 1956. Trying to digitize these, we are still in that process of trying to get into this century by digitizing, but data accuracy, historical integrity of these records is very important, and it's really important for a quick turnaround for construction and developers. When they come onto our land, they want to know, do you have easements? Do you have, utilities? We want to make sure that we can quickly get this information for them so we're not holding up that development. Aging assets, something everybody faces. We are constantly talking about facilities, infrastructures, maintenance, and roofs. We have a lot of roofs. Relational interests, that is always important to me. We want to build those relationships so we can balance all of our stakeholder needs. We're constantly dealing with governmental. We deal with federal, state, and municipal. Many people don't realize we have several complexity of layers of regulations and rules that we have to process, and understanding the impacts for all of these and trying to gauge everybody's interests so that we can make strong collaborative partnerships with people. And it takes time, and I realize that sometimes part of our challenge is trying to do it fast enough to meet the need. Knowledge. All of this information and regulations, the regulations that I spoke of, but knowledge, this is key and paramount. I can't just hire somebody and come in and just be able to sit down and write a quick lease agreement. It's unfortunate. I wish I could, but we can't, which is why I rely heavily on legal and many of our coworkers. But this knowledge is really imperative, talking about all the regulations, policies, all of the land that we have, all of the different industries, all of these things that we do. Very important to have good, knowledgeable, working people. Which leads me to a last challenge is personnel, trying to hire people, trying to attract, and more importantly, retain those people with that knowledge. You want to invest in those people, and that is a challenge for not only us, but everybody. So that leads me to my favorite slide, where I get to actually introduce the team members that actually do all of the things that we've just been discussing. So first off, we have Carolyn Wyndham. She is the property specialist. She has 12 years with the city, 8 years at airports. She does the ACDBE program, and she serves as a primary liaison for all of the tenants out at CE Page and at Wiley Post. She talks to all of them daily, and insurance agents. She talks to a lot of insurance agents. Next, we have Stephanie Stark, who is a property technician. She has 27 years with the city, 19 years of that with the airports. A lot of good information. She's previously managed the preparation of many RFPs and bids for some of these industries, and she currently oversees the custodial services, the agricultural operation, and several agreements at Wiley Post and CE Page. She also keeps together all of our LFR data, which is amazing, and we do appreciate. Next up, we have Natasha Gatz. She has 12 years with the city. She is a property technician, 8 years at airports. And in order to help us keep all of this information as we are trying to get into this century, she actually, at my request, she went out and built a comprehensive database to help us pull together some of these stats that we have here today. And she's also helped shape our inspection program by pulling in all of the information and making us be able to go out and do inspections and then get that information back to our tenants so they can utilize it. She's done a great job in demonstrating her dedication to professional growth. She also recently earned her certified member designation with AAAE. All of these women also got their Oklahoma Airport Operators Professional Certifications this year. So you can look at those years of experience and everything that they do and see the dedication and how grateful and blessed I am to be able to work with them. One of our other individuals, she could not be here today. She is a part-timer, and she actually has 19 years with the city, all 19 as a part-timer at the airports. She's instrumental in digitizing and organizing our documents to help enhance our records management system. I myself have 27 years with the city, 19 of which, not consecutive, but 19 of which were at the airports. And with that, I will lend it over to you, see if you have any questions.
That was great. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes? Oh, whoa. Good. Okay. Will Rogers has over 8,000 acres. That is unbelievable. And then Wiley Post is
1,500.
1,500. Okay. And so do we have like a long-range master plan for all of that land, that 8,000? Or how do we ensure, future trusts and future, leaders of the city don't do something that would somehow limit our ability to grow and have an airport that meets the needs of a future that's a long time from now?
I'll let Director Malden talk about the airport master plan.
Yeah, I think she alluded to it, Bob, is that you have a development plan, a master plan, and that kind of helps set the stage. I mean, the FAA wants the airports to have those plans too, so that there's some certainty going forward, that you're reserving enough land to serve the aeronautical needs, but that it also helps, the airport and the community to know. A great example is Lariat Landing, which is our business park, that was laid out almost 10, 15 years ago already. And so that helps then, I think, protect what we have. Always open to new ideas because things change over time. It's like we weren't thinking about things like data centers 5 years ago. Are we thinking about that yet? We are, but it's just one of those things that having the plan in place, though, I think helps protect the future. Okay.
Any other questions?
My wife of many years is in commercial real estate, and we talk often about the complexity that has to be to do that. And I mean, commercial real estate's a full contact sport, no doubt.
Amen.
But congratulations, it's a great presentation. It's very interesting. I'm going to share this with her because she's asked me lots of questions about how it all gets done. So well done.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Board, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to next jump to what I guess we're calling our 2026 preview. And what I wanted to do was last month we kind of reviewed what we had covered in 2025, and we put together kind of a list of things that we think would be important for 2026. Wanted to show this today, get your input, and ultimately take this and come back in January with kind of our business plan for 2026. So, Lana, if you could go forward to the next slide's fine. Many of these things are currently underway, so they're really kind of a continuation of things that we are already working on: restrooms, outbound baggage, boarding bridges, terrazzo floor, automation, as we've talked about, parking reservation system. A couple things that we are thinking about when it comes, though, to the Olympics in 2028. Rideshare pickup canopy, that's something that we hadn't talked about, but our rideshare customers today go to the upper level and they pick up their vehicle or their ride, and it's an uncovered part of the curb. And we want to try to provide some cover for that, especially thinking about the Olympics in 2028, thinking about all the people coming in for that. Another thing that we've added to the list is a customer lounge. We've had some questions about that. It's become more prominent and common in airports. Used to be all airline lounges, now you have private concept lounges too, and we're exploring that too, thinking about adding that here in Oklahoma City.
One question.
Yeah, sure.
So when you talked about the covered portion, also lighting?
Yes, and that is a challenge for us in that area. We've added some lighting, we'd add more. Adding a canopy actually helps light the area because it gives you more place to put lights, but yes, so it's part of that area. It's been a challenge for us. We're trying to address it. So adding canopy would give them cover and give us opportunities to improve the lighting too. Air service expansion continues as it's an everyday effort for us, but these are some of our targets, but always open to new ones. So that effort continues. The next slide. I forgot to mention, we've organized these as we have previously into our strategic priorities. And this first group of projects is under our strategic priority. First page is under customer service and amenities. This next page, we get into our infrastructure and our assets. One of the projects that we are going to be kicking off soon is our intersection as you're driving to the airport on Meridian. The last stoplight is Amelia Earhart, and we need to reconstruct that space for capacity, and it's also old and wearing out. And we are going to develop that into a roundabout. And again, our timing is to get that complete by the middle of 2028 for the Olympics, so that's something that will become an important project that will begin here in 2026. Multimodal development is something that we're exploring. We've had some interest and ideas about how we can use our geographic location here in the U.S., provide some develop some multimodal facilities that then help industrial development. So we're exploring some ideas there and hope to develop that over the next year. That long-term development plan that we developed over the last year, now we're going to take that and develop some details. So we've got this 30-year development plan. We're going to take those projects, make projects out of them, define cost estimates, and start developing those things in more detail. Lariat Landing, we continue to have some progress there. We're adding more infrastructure, adding another taxi lane, and adding more utility and road area on the commercial side of Lariat Landing. And also looking at the idea of developing a spec hangar. Often in our conversations with aeronautical uses is they're interested in Oklahoma City, they're ready to come here. The issue of them developing their own facility is sometimes an impediment, and so we want to explore those options or those alternatives also. So we would then be the developer of a large hangar. Next slide continues with the strategic priority of infrastructure and assets. And some of these are projects that are at Wiley Post that are underway already, that we would continue, such as the control tower. We've done the design for that project, and we are seeking some federal funds to construct that. We also want to start replacing the perimeter fence that we have there. And then at Clarence Page, a project we've been working on for a little while is trying to get some of that property released for industrial development. And we've made some progress, and we hope to try to get that across the finish line in 2026. The last slide, two other strategic priorities, employees, and this is really a continuation of things that we've been focusing on, and a lot of this starts with the employee survey. That's part of the city that we've been participating in and using those to point our efforts. And one of the things that we are focusing on in 2026 is My Opinion Counts, and it's just developing better lines of communication with different levels of the organization and taking those frontline employees' ideas and putting them into practice. We've got a fantastic engagement committee called the Aviators that we'll continue to use. We have a training program in place and a recognition program. And then the last one is a strategic priority for resources. We're working on a trust and bond indenture update. The documents are decades old and need to be updated, and that will help us also as we go forward and issue future debt. And then the parking garage is a project that could either go under infrastructure or resources. The parking is our #1 revenue stream, so it's an important resource for us. And we are well underway in the design and hope to get started on construction this year. So those are just some of the things we're thinking about, and certainly open to any input from the members as far as other things we may want to be thinking about. So.
Great. Looks like you're going to be busy.
Yes, sir.
All right, next up we have Oklahoma City Will Rogers International Airport.
Yes, sir. Let's start. Item A is the final acceptance with Five Star Airport Alliance for the baggage handling system at the Federal Inspection Services. Item B is final acceptance for common use gates and ticket counter. Item C is the cargo signatory agreement with Federal Express Corporation. Item D is the de-icing material storage use agreement with Federal Express Corporation. Item E is ground services agreement with Shar Hotels. Item F is ground services agreement with Kaylee Hospitality. G is ground services agreement with Northwest Hospitality. H is ground services agreement with Village Travel. I is ground services agreement with Kings Worldwide Transportation. J is Amendment 1 with Rudy Construction for the reconstruction terminal apron gates, Phase 2. Item K is Amendment 2 for natural gas distribution services agreement with Integrity Resources. Item L is Amendment 2, change order 2 with Rudy Construction for rehabilitate AAR ramp. Item M is Amendment 3, program management services with Kirkpatrick Project Management Incorporated. Item N is change order 2, Electrical Solutions of Oklahoma, Thomas P. Stafford Emergency Lighting. Item O is ratify and approve change order 1 for the Federal Inspection Services FAE package. Item P is resolution to change order 5 with Standard Testing and Engineering LLC. Item Q is to approve purchase order with Frankfurt Short and Bruza for MetroTech new hangar. Item R is to ratify and approve purchase order with Park Hill Smith & Cooper for baggage handling system improvements.
Okay. You've heard the request for approval for Oklahoma City Will Rogers International Airport. Are there any questions? Is there a motion and second? And the item passes. Next up, we have Wiley Post Airport.
Mr. Chairman, item A is an assumption and use guarantee with Synergy Aviation. Item B is lease agreement Midland Financial. And item C is change order construction contract with Midwest Wrecking.
Okay. You heard the request for approval for Wiley Post Airport. Are there any questions? Can I entertain a motion and second? And the item passes. Seeing none for Clarence C. Page Airport, we'll move on to general.
And that is a resolution authorizing the purchase of fleet and facility-related vendor logistics management with Napa Auto Parts.
Okay. Are there any questions? Entertain a motion and second. And the item passes. Okay. Next up, we have easements.
Item A is navigation easement for Southwest 4424 Southwest 33rd Street.
Okay. Can I entertain a motion and second for easements? And the item passes. Okay, next up we have our requisitions, a resolution ratifying the prior approval of certain requisition payments and a resolution approving requisition payments. Can I entertain a motion and second? And the item passes. Next up, we have items for individual consideration in an executive session.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we did put this on the agenda, but we didn't really have an update at this point in time. We're welcome to go into executive session if you'd like to, but we kind of
No
put it
real
on.
updates?
No.
Okay, then we can bypass our executive session and entertain comments from trustees. Are there any comments?
I don't know if everybody saw this, but yesterday there was a great article in the Oklahoman about Oklahoma City Will Rogers Airport. It's entitled, "Will Rogers Airport is Getting Busier. Here's How It Compares to Other Airports." And we, in 2024, had a 5% passenger growth rate over 2023, which the article commented on. It said that the article also said we are known as one of the leading airports for great check-in times. but my favorite was this one, and I'm not going to read them all into the record, but my favorite is, we are known as the 6th favorite airport in the United States. And that's pretty cool, and a lot of people don't talk about that, and I think we should be talking about it more, and I just want to thank you for that.
Outstanding. That is good.
Yeah, I just wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and thanks again to the staff. I mean, I think what Mark's talking about, Jeff would be the first to say that it's this team and the people they represent are the ones that really get the work done, and really grateful for all the employees we have in the city, but here for this trust, especially with the airport employees and the work that they do, so really grateful for Jeff's leadership and his team.
Outstanding. Yeah, I agree.
Mr. Chairman, I had one other thing. So just wanted to, so our attorney is going to be doing a transition over the next couple of months. She's going to be moving downtown to become an assistant director for the municipal counselor's office. She's still going to be supporting the airport for several months as we have to do a transition, but obviously Jamie's been an important part of the airport over a number of years, and want to just recognize you for that, and wish you good luck. You're going to have lots of things to deal with coming downtown. But so she'll still be working with us for the next couple of months as we transition, but just wanted to recognize you for your great
Yes,
service.
thank you for your great work, and we'll see more and more of you at City Hall.
And she hasn't disappeared, so that's good.
I will be a deputy municipal counselor for our office, but I will still oversee the airport's legal department, but just in a different capacity. So, yeah, I've loved working at the airport for the last 16 years and seeing us grow and develop. So, thank you.
Well, congratulations. That says that we must be doing an okay job. She's moving up. Are there any comments from staff? Are there any citizens wishing to be heard? With that, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and we'll start this all over again. We are adjourned.